Today, it is time for Heart of the Matter conversation. We'll spend our whole broadcast getting to the heart of major issues affecting our community. Crime and policing are no doubt right near the top of the list. We've seen a deadly stretch of years in Kansas City, Missouri, with homicides setting records, all while the relationship between police and the public has strained. There is someone new at the helm, though. Stacey Graves took over as KCPD's chief in December with plans to improve the department, our community, and work to make our city safer. But at the start of our conversation, she tells me she can't do it alone. Chief, thanks for having us. It's no secret Kansas City has had an issue with crime, with violent crime. Murders, homicides get most of the headlines. What needs to be done to fix this? What needs to be done to curb the crime once and for all?
Well, I think the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, or police in general, aren't the end-all be-all to curbing violent crime. It's going to have to take a collective Kansas City for everyone to come together and really get involved in violent crime here in Kansas City. And what I say, why I say that, or how I can explain that, is that sometimes, like homicides are at the top of the headlines, right? As they should be. But anyone in Kansas City who's a resident, lives here, works here, should be concerned about one life in our city being taken by violence. So I guess you could ask yourself, okay, what can I do? Let me just talk about my violent crime strategy. It's going to have to be a collective Kansas City. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is our leaders, our city services, our community groups, our neighborhoods, our social service agencies, obviously law enforcement, the criminal justice system. I mean, all of that has to work together for us to really make the impact on violent crime that really needs to happen. Policing has changed a lot in the past 5 to 10 years in America. It has, and we're gonna change along with it. And I think it's mostly for the good. But there's some parts in the whole criminal justice system as a whole that also need to adapt. If you have one piece that's not working, then it's all a little bit off. Like whether if it's police or the courts, or whether it's holding people accountable for some heinous crime, that throws the whole picture off.
Have you worked with local prosecutors to maybe try to change some of that? Tell me about that.
Yes, our relationship with all of our prosecutors here in Kansas City and our courts, because I say courts like municipal court, all of those relationships are important. We've got to communicate with each other, and we've been doing that. That was a top priority of mine, to connect specifically with all of our prosecutors here and our city leaders. We've all got to have a unified front if we really want to work together and make some progress. We want to make some big strides, and that's how a lot of that starts. We have neighborhoods in Kansas City that over decades have continued to experience violent crime, and that trauma can be passed on from generation to generation. We have places in Kansas City where people hear gunshots and they don't call the police because they expect it to be heard in their neighborhood. I don't know if it's they're desensitized or they expect it, but when you expect gunshots in your neighborhood, then you kind of accept it in such a way. And when I say that, I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying we've got to start putting a standard out there of what is acceptable and what's not. And people who know people, or who are related to people, or people coming in and out of their homes or in their neighborhoods that they know are involved in violent crime and they're not getting involved, I mean, that's a problem. What's
holding them back? Fear of criminals, fear of retaliation, or fear of law enforcement?
Maybe it's all. And I want to make sure that law enforcement isn't a hindrance to that. And that's why we're out. That's why we're having conversations. That's why we're going to have listening sessions. We want to hear from our neighborhoods. We want to hear from people of Kansas City how the police department can better serve them. We need to listen to how people want to be policed. I know some don't want police at all, and there's reasons for that. But
right.
But
what do you say to those people?
I got to be honest. People that live in neighborhoods that experience violence want police, period. They want police in their neighborhoods. And there may be some naysayers out there that say, oh, I'm sure that's not true. Come to our community meetings, you ask them, and I will tell you they want police. So that being said, people who don't want to be policed, maybe there's a reason, maybe there's not, but there are neighborhoods that feel like they're over-policed and some that are under-policed. So it's just having those conversations and trying to see what police service that they would like to see from us.
What would you say to somebody who says, I'm afraid to call 911?
I would say don't be. It's as simply as that. So somebody who's afraid to call 911, I would love to have a conversation with them, bring them into one of our patrol division stations, connect them with one of our community engagement division officers to have real conversations and just really talk it out. That's community policing. That's an action. That's talking to people, listening, work, problem solving. If you look up like the definition of community policing, which I'm not going to bore you with, a lot of that is working together and solving problems. So that's a problem. If somebody's scared to call 911,
It's a big problem.
we'd love to have a conversation. See how we can help that.
I know KC360 is a program that you're working on. If you could tell us a little bit about that, kind of addresses some of the issues that you're talking about here, getting the whole community involved.
Yeah, so KC360 is that on a right now it's a pilot. I think we've gotten past the pilot stage on that. That's a whole community approach to violent crime, but it's specifically in a geographical area right now, and that is offering obviously community policing is part of that, but also some of these social service agencies that could come in and maybe look at some of the root causes and just to try to help the environment to where it's not so conducive for violent crime. We have so many great people in Kansas City. I can't say that enough. And in a lot of our neighborhoods that experience violent crime, there's so many good people in these neighborhoods that want to make a difference. And some people, I think, and even us, sometimes we don't know what the right answer is. We just got to get in there and just get in there and start working and figuring it out.